The first time we saw our cows.
Heck yes. One of my favorite memories.
Literally
personally.
such a good day.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, we obviously are so used to going out in the pasture now and seeing them with calves on their side. And I mean, they've grown and changed a lot since we first saw them. But we thought it'd be fun to reminisce on when we first saw them because it was not our goal that day to pick out 2 calves that we're going to start our herd with. But the process of seeing them was really, really special.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we were in a Ranger with Doc Beck.
Yes.
And just driving through, it was my first time at his place. You'd been there lots and lots
Countless
of times.
I love going there.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about like why you like Doc Beck's herd in general.
Absolutely. So growing up, Doc Beck was actually our embryologist and just always greatly respected him. Obviously, his knowledge for embryology, I just always thought was so interesting. But just his knowledge for great cattle as well. And obviously from his perspective, being able to go around and flush many donors for so many different operations, his eye has just become so keen to quality.
Definitely.
And you can see that just walking through his herd. And every time I go there, I'm blown away growing up. And so I had been wanting to get Alyssa into Doc Beck's herd for so long, and we were finally both up in Wisconsin.
On a cold April day.
Cold
classic
April day.
Wisconsin.
And got her roped in the car, and we drove over there. And yeah, so
You and Doc Beck are sitting in the front of the Ranger. I'm sitting on the back, so I'm a little bit more like just can scope everything in. You're talking to Doc Beck as usual, having great conversation. We're driving around. And, obviously, I trust Daniel's eye, I trust his opinion immensely, but I'm also very independent and I like to think for myself. And
you definitely are.
You would show me so many videos and tell me so many different stories about Doc Beck, and I obviously trusted you, but I was definitely ready to make an opinion for myself that day. Mm-hmm. And so I'm bundled up in the back of the Ranger, just kind of taking everything in, and cow after cow, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is pretty legit. I definitely, and we see cattle very similarly. We have, our priorities are very aligned. And it's, again, April in Wisconsin, so it's muddy, it's cloudy,
But, in my opinion, it's a perfect time to see calves because you can see the ones that have just calved, where you can see, them coming into milk, them freshening. Our 2 cows at the time were heavy bred, which I also think is just such a valuable time to see them.
Yeah.
Because if there is going to be a structural flaw in them, it is going to be exaggerated when they're carrying a heavy calf inside of them.
Definitely. So I think...
At least that's our thoughts.
Oh, yeah. So the circumstances were ideal in some ways, and we were driving around. I think we came across Savannah first.
Definitely.
And I, classic Daniel gets out of the Ranger, every 2 seconds to walk a cow around. But I'm, sitting in the back, just kind of, scoping it out. And I think we were both just so taken aback by her that, neither of us pulled out our phones to video or picture. Again, we're not thinking we're in any circumstance to buy a cow, but we both see her and kind of love at first sight. We definitely fell in love with her. I'm like, man, and to be fair, there are, lots of others up there that resemble her. Doc Beck's herd is very consistent.
Yes.
But she kind of stood out to us, I would say.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Coming into milk, her udder was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And it still is to this day. It's something we truly treasure about her. Her body shape and just how tight she is in her throat latch with an immense amount of body shape and just dropping a really nice bag. We really value her.
Too.
And actually something that's so funny is we didn't even really realize that she had a bobtail because we were so blown away by the rest of her.
True.
Alyssa had voiced to me in previous conversations that how much she doesn't like bobtails or short ears, just little imperfections like that, and we didn't even notice the bobtail. We were so blown away.
Yeah. And then we kept driving around, and I think we had stopped just to talk with Doc Beck for a little bit, and there was this really, really pretty first calf heifer, and I would say myself, I'm probably more drawn to 2, 3-year-old, 4-year-old cows. That's the type of cattle I like looking at, I would say.
Definitely.
But I she just had struck a pose, and I think you were kind of roped in a conversation for the start of it. I pulled out my phone and I was videoing her, and this is Aurora, obviously, but man, I was in love with her. And then you kind of see her, you see out of the corner of your eye that I'm videoing her, and
I start asking questions.
You start
about
asking
her, and we
questions
have those
about her.
questions on video, which is so cool to reflect on.
Yeah.
But she was stunning. Like, just very,
Yes.
very soft built in her skeleton.
Yes.
Really deep in her body shape. Beautiful headed female.
Yes.
And yeah, just like Savannah was starting to drop a really nice bag. And yeah, we were blown away by
We
her.
were just, yeah, we fell in love. And so we get in the car and we just basically look at each other like, crap. We really, really
Yeah.
like these cows. And we want to make a video just specifically about the business plan discussion we had on the drive home. Because, I mean, we had to drive all the way back to Kansas with your stuff. So
Yep.
it was a lot of discussion. But ultimately, like, we will always look back on the first time seeing them. And I mean, that's how it should be. Like, I think at least, like, you need to look out in your pasture and just look at pretty cows. Like, obviously functional females, but you need to enjoy what you're looking at. And so I think it means a lot that we just fell in love with them in person. And then we have that experience every time we get to go out in the pasture and look at them as they're growing. And so that's so special to me.
Absolutely. We just think it was, reflecting back on that, we truly feel it was so beneficial to be able to see them at that time. Like, Savannah was coming due with her second calf, Aurora first calf heifer, and just being able to
Yeah.
truly see them how they're going to be as cows long term.
Yeah.
And loving them then and loving them absolutely now. So yeah, it's been amazing.